Hi all. This is a quick lecture to talk about solving quadratic equations with complex solutions. So we're going to do a couple of examples with quadratic equations where there's an I in the solution and we just practice how to deal with that in the square root. So let's first look at one that came up in this week's discussion. X plus 1 squared plus 8 is equal to 0. So the first thing we want to know is that this is not in standard form. So standard form for the quadratic equation is, for a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we have the equals 0 part, but we don't have the ax plus b, ax squared plus bx plus c layout. So to do that, we need to multiply out this binomial right here. So let's rewrite that and do that. That's x plus 1 squared. So this is a perfect square trinomial, which means we square the first term, multiply the two terms together, and then multiply by 2. So x times 1 is x, times 2 is 2x. And then square the last term. Plus 8 is equal to 0. So that gives us an x squared plus 2x plus 9 is equal to 0, and we finally have it in this form. So that means we can plug and chug into our binomial, or into our quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's label some stuff over here. So I've got an a in front, and that's that secret hidden 1. I've got a b in front, and that's the 2. And I've got a c at the end. So a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, and c is equal to 9. So I'm just going to plug and chug these numbers into my quadratic formula. That gives me negative 2 plus or minus 2 squared, so 4, minus 4, times a, which is 1, times c, which is 9, and all divided by 2 times a. And a is 1. So x is equal to all this, and now we just need to start simplifying. X is equal to negative 2 plus or minus, I've got 4 minus 4 times 9, which is 36. So 4 minus 36 all over 2 times 1 is just 2. So that will give me x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 36 is 32 negative all over 2. So to get rid of the negative, I'm just going to move an I outside. Negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 32i all over 2. That's gotten rid of the negative in here, and so now I'm just going to simplify the square root. So I've got negative 2 plus or minus, see, 32 is 2 times 16, I think. Let me double check that on my calculator. 32 divided by 16 is equal to 2. Good. Okay. So that gives me the square root of 2 times 16. I can move the 16 out because it's a perfect square. So I've got 4 square root of 2 and an I all over 2. So since this is a complex number, I'm going to write it as two different terms. Negative 2 over 2 plus or minus 4 root 2i over 2. And then I'll simplify from there. So negative 2 over 2 is negative 1 plus or minus 4 over 2 is 2 root 2i. And if the book requires two separate solutions, we just want to write the plus and the minus separately. So this is negative 1 plus 2 root 2i, comma, negative 1 minus 2 root 2i. So let's zoom out and look at that all together. There's a lot of zooming out that we would have to do. Okay, that's probably not legible. Zoom in a bit more. So right here we have 4 minus 36. We did that subtraction and got a negative 32. We took the negative outside of the square root with this I. Then we simplified the square root, and the I just kind of hangs out and goes along for the ride. I've got the 4 over 2, which reduced to 2. The square root did not change because I'm reducing these whole numbers. Okay, and then I have my I just following me along for all of my solutions. Okay, let's look at one more. Let's pull one out of the book. We'll do 3x squared minus 2x is equal to negative 5. And let's look at our standard form again. It should be ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We do not have an equal 0 on this side. So I'm going to fix this by moving this negative 5 over, and I'll do that by adding 5 to both sides. So on the next line it would be 3x squared minus 2x plus 5, and these minus 5 and plus 5 will cancel out to give me a 0. So now I've got it in the standard form, which means that I can plug and chug into x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So a is equal to 3, b is equal to, I've got to keep that sign, so negative 2, and c is equal to 5. When I plug into this form, that'll give me x is equal to negative b, so negative 2 is a positive 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, negative 2 squared would give me a positive 4, negative 2 times negative 2 would give me a positive 4, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 5, all over 2 times a, which is 3. Now we just need to start simplifying it. 2, let's see, we've got a 4 minus 4 times 3 times 5. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 15 times 4 is 60. Minus 60 all over 6. So this gives me a 2 plus or minus negative 56 all over 6. And I want to get rid of this negative on the inside. So to do that, I will write the I on the outside. 2 plus or minus square root 56 I over 6. And now I want to see if I can reduce the square root of 56. So 56, let's see, that is 2. Let's clear that. 56 divided by 2 times 28. And 28, that's 4 times 7. Questioning everything today is just one of those days. 28 divided by 7 is equal to 4. Okay. So let's see, it looks like my only square will be 4, and that'll leave me with a 14 inside the square root. So this is equal to 2 plus or minus. If I take the 4 out of the square root, I'll have a 2, and what's left over would be a 14. The I stays along for the ride, and divide by 6. Again, I'll separate these into two terms since it's a complex number. I get 2 over 6 plus or minus 2 over 6 again, times 14i. So that will give me 1/3 plus or minus 1/3 times 14i, or 1/3 plus or minus 14i over 3. These two things are exactly the same. I can write the 14i next to the fraction or on top of the fraction. Okay, I hope that helps with the homework and just kind of getting a feel for how the I works when we're simplifying the square roots. and also how to simplify with that denominator.